So, hello guys, I just want to show you basically my port of Quake for the PC-98. But unfortunately, my actual PC-98 does not have an FPU. It uses a 486 processor and there's no FPU installed. On top of that, there's not enough RAM for the PC. I only have like 5 megabytes. That's not enough for this game. You really want at least 8 megabytes for this game to run. I did order a better PC-98, but it will only arrive at my doorsteps in like 2 months from now. So I'll have to use the emulators. The problem is that they are not very accurate. They have many issues. I also had issues with my previous game on this. Was not working properly. But uh, hopefully this should give you an idea of how it will actually perform on the PC-98. So the challenge with the PC-98 is the higher screen resolution compared to like VGA. So VGA it's like 320 by 200. On the PC-98 21, it's 640 by 480. No, actually 400, my bad. It is 480 if you use like the 31 kilohertz mode, but if you use like the 24 kilohertz mode, it will be 400 for the vertical resolution. So let me show you how it actually runs on the DOSBox X. And we are set the CPU speed to like the Pentium MMX because that's roughly what my PC is going to be like. The new one that I ordered like 1 month ago. And it's not too bad actually. Performs decently well. The problem with this version that I have right here, this one uses like the assembly code for like parts of the rendering, and it is much faster, but I also have like a C-based version of the rendering code. Unfortunately, that version is much slower, but that version works on NEC Project 2. But the fast version, the one that you're looking at here right now, it does not run on the NEC Project 2. Like the game will just freeze when it tries to run the demo that you're looking at right now. The other issue is that on the DOSBox X, input does not work. And that's an issue with DOSBox X itself, actually. There's a bug report about that. So there's not, I can't really show you the game actually running under DOSBox X, but that's not going to be an issue anyway because, it also freezes at this portion right here. But that's actually an issue with the code base that I was using. It does run if you play the game normally, but if you let the demo play, then it will freeze like that. So let me show you first how this game actually runs first with like the slow version. And yeah, this is so much slower. I'm not sure if this is an accurate representation of how the game is actually supposed to run on this because this is like at least 3 times slower than the other version. Even though you can, even if I increase the speed, well, it doesn't make much of a difference. So that's sort of why I'm not trusting those results too much. Especially since I actually had to patch NEC Project 2 because it has an issue with the DOS extender that I'm using for Quake and also my game. For the game, I know that it works because I tested it on real hardware on my actual PC-98 and it does work fine. I don't get an error, unlike what I would get if I tried to run it on the NEC Project 2 Kai. And the speed was also not that right on the NEC Project 2, but I was setting like my CPU way lower than I would otherwise. But maybe it's actually this slow if I were to use like the fast version, if it actually ran. I can actually play this. I put some input, but first, before we actually try to play, I'll drop down the resolution. Unfortunately, it's quite unresponsive. There we go. There we go. Now it's much more bearable. And I can actually play now. Cool. Well, sort of. I have to go into the menu again to map out some controls. There we go. It's really small, but there's no way to actually drop down the resolution other than use like the 16 colors mode. So that's not a good idea here. Trust me, guys. Cool. That's quite surprising that Quake was never really ported to the PC-98, but I guess that at the time the game was actually released, you could actually just play the Windows version, and it would be the same thing. I have not actually tried the Windows version on the PC-98, so that would be good for comparison. If I can actually get the DOS version, the fast one, to work on the actual thing. If not, that the Windows version is probably going to be much faster. I can also try to port other stuff like Quake 2 and Sonic Robo Blast 2. Sonic Robo Blast 2, the last version, they recently dropped down the RAM consumption, so that could be a potential candidate. But I'll just wait on my PC-98 to actually arrive, because it seems it seems to actually cap out the memory because of the memory hole bullshit issue. So I'll need an actual PC-98 with more than 16 megabytes of RAM. Fortunately, mine has 64 megabytes, so that's plenty enough for what I need this for. Okay, that's enough. Now let me show you what happens currently if you try to run the fast version. Fast. And yeah, it will just freeze and do nothing. In fact, it's not even showing like the version on the bottom right. It's supposed to show like 109, but it doesn't here for some reason. I also tried to port like Quake DOS, but I didn't have like much luck with that. So if you were expecting to play online with this, then just forget about it. I also don't have like a network out for my PC-98 anyway, and I don't think people are going to play this online. I mean, if that's your intent, then just use the Windows version. That will be much easier than setting up all of that shit on under DOS. It's a solo experience for the most part. And yeah, this will it will actually stay stuck because of a sleep command, and then it will just freeze forever. So if you want to give it a try yourself on your PC-98 or even on the emulators, there will be a link in the description below. So thank you guys, and see you next time.